What is in the name? That which we call a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. This is a famous quote from Romeo and Juliet, and this quote has been taken from the famous balcony scene. In the balcony scene, we find Romeo and Juliet conversing with each other, and they talk about name, and they talk how important naming is, and they say that naming is a very artificial and superficial thing because it doesn't matter by what name you call a thing. What matters is the quality of that thing. And we also find on the other hand that names play a very influential role in our life. We are known by our names. So in this video, I'm going to talk about some pseudonyms or pen names of some really famous writers. And remember to note of all these names because these names have been asked in net exams several times. Also at the same time, you must remember what pseudonym actually means. Pseudonym is false name. Pseudo word means false. If you have read science in 10th and 11th standard, you must have come across the term called pseudopodia. Pseudopodia is basically false feet that any unicellular animal has, and that feet help that animal for movement and for intaking food. So same, pseudopodia is very similar to pseudonym. Both pseudo stands for false, so pseudonym is false name. So in this video we are going to talk about some pseudonyms of some really famous writers. If you are an ardent reader, you must have read Prem Chandra, the great Indian writer, and even Prem Chandra had a pen name, and the pen name was Nawab Rai. If you're a Harry Potter fan, then you must be knowing the pseudonym of J.K. Rowling. If not, then go and check the pseudonym of J.K. Rowling today. So the first writer that we are going to talk about in this video today is Robert Burton. Robert Burton is an Oxford scholar, and he wrote this beautiful work called Anatomy of Melancholy, in which he talks about different kind of melancholy. And when he was writing this work, he used this pseudonym of Democritus Jr. Okay, and he published this work under the pseudonym of Democritus Jr. This was a question asked in net exam, that under what pseudonym did Robert Burton publish his work Anatomy of Melancholy. We also find a very special story related to his death. Actually, Robert Burton was an astrologer, and as he was practicing astrology, he predicted his own death. And the day when he predicted, according to his prediction, the day on which he was going to die, he became so conscious of this fact that, okay, I am supposed to die on the day I've predicted because I need to tell the people how good I am as an astrologer. So he committed suicide by hanging in the chamber of Christian church on the very day when he predicted that he would die. Try to connect to this man, that this person was so obsessed about his own predictions and wanted himself to be portrayed as a very, very renowned astrologer that he committed suicide just because he wanted to make sure that his predictions did not go wrong. So we have such psychopath people in literature as well. Now let's look at another important writer and his pseudonym. The next important writer is Charles Lutwidge Dodson. You must be wondering whose name this is. So I would like to tell you that Charles Lutwidge Dodson is the real name of Lewis Carroll. Lewis Carroll has written this wonderful work called Alice in the Wonderland. I'm a huge fan of this work because it is so interesting, and it talks about certain philosophical questions in such a easy manner. Okay, and I would like to tell you this thing about Mr. Lewis Carroll, that he used to love students a lot. Actually, what happened during his childhood days, that he used to stammer a lot, and when he was with children, he found out that he did not stammer when he was with children, just because he loved them so much and he felt so happy when he was with them that he did not stammer. So he started writing stories about children. At the same time, we should also understand this thing that Lewis Carroll was a very modest and a private man. He did not want people to know that he was writing certain stories and certain novels. So that is why he decided to use a pseudonym so that nobody comes to know about his real identity. The next writer that I'm going to talk about is George Orwell. George Orwell's real name was Eric Arthur Blair. He changed his name from Eric Arthur Blair to George Orwell because he used to admire the patron saint of England, whose name was George, and he was also loving this river called Orwell, which used to run in England. So just because of these two things, he started calling himself George Orwell. sometimes I feel that how awkward it would sound if just because of my love for river Brahmaputra, I would change my name from Arpita to Brahmaputra. Like, it's actually insane. But then fine, that was Orwell's life, and he could do whatever he wanted to do. We must remember this thing about Orwell, that he was born in Bengal and he also worked as a police officer in Burma. So if you have read his work Shooting an Elephant, which is a wonderful essay, you must know that he has described his daily routine and the kind of experience he had as a police officer in Burma. He has written several other important works which we cover in detail in our online course. You can go to my website www.arpitakarwa.com. You'll find a list of all the writers that I cover in my audio online course, which is specifically designed for UGC NET English aspirants. You can look for the details which is given in the description box below, and if you like the course, then do join the online course. We will be studying several works of George Orwell in the course. We study Animal Farm, we study the major work, the most prominent essay written by George Orwell, which is Inside the Whale, Politics and English Language. So all these works are being covered in my online course in detail. The next writer that we are taking up is Charlotte Bronte. Charlotte Bronte used the pseudonym of Tudor Ben. Basically, Bronte family had 5 daughters and 1 son. Out of these 5 daughters, 2 daughters died. The rest 3 became really great literary writers. We have Emily Bronte, we have Anna Bronte, and we have Charlotte Bronte. All the 3 Bronte sisters used pseudonyms in order to write works so that they are taken seriously, because they were writing in the Romantics and Victorian period. So during that time, female writings were not appreciated by people. So that is why they used pseudonym. You should also remember that out of these 5 daughters, 2 of them, Elizabeth and Mary, these 2 daughters died in the boarding school due to typhus. And we find this reference of typhus and the boarding school in Jane Eyre, which is a very important work by Charlotte Bronte, and that shows the autobiographical connection between the work and Charlotte Bronte's life. The next writer is Washington Irving. Washington Irving has used the pseudonym of Jonathan Oldstyle and Geoffrey Crayon. He is the author of this great American work which is called Legend of Sleepy Hollows. And if you have seen Batman movies, then I'm sure that you must know about the city of Gotham. So he is the person, Washington Irving is the person who renamed or who nicknamed New York as the city of Gotham. And if you've seen the recent movie of DC Comics, that is Suicide Squad, they also mention Gotham and they say that Gotham is located near New Jersey. So this Gotham nickname is given by Washington Irving. Also, you must remember one thing about Washington Irving, that he is called first American man of letters, first American writer who earned his living solely from his pen. The next writer is George Eliot. George Eliot's real name was Marianne Evan, and she used the pseudonym of George Eliot so that her writings are taken seriously, because when in the Victorian century female writers were writing, nobody used to like it or nobody used to read it. It was called as chick literature, like what we call it today. Chick literature is basically literature specifically written to appeal women. So she doesn't want herself to be categorized in that category. That is why she used a male pseudonym. Also, you must remember one thing about George Eliot, that she was a person who had to leave her education because her mother died, and she used to work as a housekeeper and work with her father. At the same time, one very important thing that you must remember is that she has written some really fabulous literary critical essays. So you must go and read those literary essays, because there are times when they ask questions from the critical essays written by George Eliot. The next important writer that we are going to talk about in this video is Mark Twain. His real name was Samuel Langhorne Clemens. Now, there's a very, very interesting story on how Samuel actually got the name Mark Twain. Basically, he was going on a trip. So he was sailing on a boat and he was going to New Orleans, and while he was going, he was learning how to swim from the pilot of that steamboat. So the pilot asked him to go into the water and try to swim in that cloudy, foggy water. So when he went there, the steamboat pilot told him that if in case you are fine and you don't need any help, you need to shout Mark Twain, which means that water is safe. And he used to shout Mark Twain, and that is how he actually got his name Mark Twain. So it's a very, very interesting story. You should also remember one more thing about Mark Twain, and that is that he is the one who coined it the term Gilded Age. And this was a question which was asked in NET exam. So you must remember that it is Mark Twain who coined the term Gilded Age, which refers to a period from 1870 to 1910. So this is what is important to be remembered. Before you end this video, do subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I post videos every Saturday and every Sunday to help you guys with your UGC NET preparation. Do like this video and give it a big thumbs up, and also share it with other NET aspirants. Also, before you end this video and you leave to work or prepare for UGC NET, do follow me on the social media platform. I run a Go NET quiz on all my social media platform, which helps you to know what kind of questions are being asked in NET exam. The link of all the social media platform is given in the description box below. Also, go and check my website www.arpitakarwal.com. I'm running an online course in which I provide audio lectures for the entire UGC NET English course. You can go and check the list of writers which are important and which I cover in my online course. So till the time we meet next, bye bye, happy learning, keep loving literature.